I've seen a lot of discussion on the internet recently, which is good to see. Collei seems to be getting a lot more mainstream and people are realizing and spreading the word on how good she is with Nilou. If you want to know why, I've made a bunch of videos previously you should watch. I've been promoting her since release. You can also read my Nilou guide, I'll put the link in the description. For a simple summary, Collei has many sources of portable and flexible dendro application, especially with some of her constellations and sacrificial bow. So despite, you could say, mediocre theoretical dendro application, as Collei does have all these opportunities to be applying dendro onto enemies, this makes her application very good and useful in practice, especially in AoE, which is where Nilou teams naturally thrive. Using Collei's skill and burst together alongside Kokomi is proven to be a very effective tactic for triggering lots of powerful bloom reactions. Some people might find Collei hard to play, but I think the rewards are worth it. Anyway, I just wanted to make this quick video because since a lot of people have been asking how to optimally build Collei, and I have seen many people think you should be building her for EM, which actually isn't always the case. First of all, before getting into artifact builds, we can cover weapon options quickly. Basically, almost everyone should be using sacrificial bow if you have it, especially if you have lots of refines. Why is sac bow good? Collei has two parts of her kit, and unlike other characters, it isn't entirely in her burst. Her skill, especially as I mentioned with constellations, is very powerful and a portable source of dendro, so sac bow allowing you to use it more frequently is great. However, if you're a lucky player who does have elegy for the end, that's often even better and you can use that. The team EM buff is huge and the ER it gives Collei is always useful obviously, although it may not always be better since sac bow does have less downtime with its skill use. And if you don't have either of these weapons, Favonius Warbow is given for free from the story, so it can work. Some people also use the stringless, but that's very niche. So onto our artifacts, a basic TLDR, if you're playing Nahida, there's a lot of dendro application control, so Collei can be built for attack and crit. But if you're using Traveler and Collei, in these sorts of teams, team reactions can be sometimes unstable, so you can go with other builds. So like this standard team, as I said, there's actually a lot of dendro application potential. As always, there's no calculations and the results you can get may differ depending on the situation and your gameplay execution. But in general, Collei will not be creating many of the bloom reactions in this team. Instead, they will mostly be done by Kokomi and Nilou. In fact, this is a good thing. This is Collei's big strength, which is being able to overwhelm enemies and keep dendro application stable on them. So therefore, you don't actually get much out of stacking EM. So this is my current build, which I use most often these days. What I recommend most is attack, dendro damage and crit, and also getting a bunch of energy recharge substats within these pieces. For energy recharge ballparks, generally anywhere from 170 to 200 is good. Remember her C1 also gives you ER for this. The Emblem of Severed Fate set might be the strongest hit. If I had a full set, I would also be using it. Many people have spent lots of resin farming it too, so it's pretty likely you have really good pieces. But you can also just use any mixed set, it's not that key. Even a Gilded Dream set can work, which is what I used to do. It's nice if you do want a default level of EM. And before someone asks, you never really do need to give her the Deepwood Memory set because that's usually best with her other dendro teammate. Now obviously if you're building attack and crit, that would mean you're using her talent levels. So investing in these is key, even if her damage isn't that insane. The book material for her talents is Praxis, which personally I had a surplus of. So if you also aren't using a lot of these characters, leveling up her talents shouldn't take too long. Especially since with Nilou you can stop at level 6 or 8 talents. So as I mentioned, these teams without Nahida, like this which was my original Nilou team, or the free-to-play version with Barbara. Without Nahida there can be a bit more randomness or inconsistency here. So some people just build EM on everyone to keep the bloom damage up. But again, even in these teams it isn't really necessary. And then alternatively for both teams you can just give Collei the instructor set and make her a buff bot. However, I've mentioned this before, personally I can notice that despite these team EM buffs, for some reason it doesn't really increase your DPS or clear time. Maybe you've noticed something else, but this is just what I've noticed. Especially with Nahida, my theory might be due to the tediousness of needing to guarantee a reaction with Collei each time she enters the field to get this buff. It might be tedious and it might not even be consistent. Also, what's really important is you should consider how Collei's HP will be very low with all these 4-star artifacts, which won't really be worth it if it leads to more KOs. Hopefully you found this video helpful, and again I recommend watching my previous videos or reading my guide for more information. Thanks for watching.